So let's talk about something that could completely, and I mean completely, change how we use our computers. Imagine just talking to an AI and having it control every single one of your apps. No clicks, no code, just a conversation. Let's dive into how this is now a reality. It's pretty amazing what large language models can do, right? They can whip up a poem, they can debug code, they can even plan your next vacation. But there's always been this weird wall. Ask one to do something really practical, something in the real world like, hey, update my Notion page, and nothing. It can't. Well, that's the exact problem we're going to solve today. So what's the deal? Why are these super smart AIs basically trapped inside a chat window? Well, it all boils down to a fundamental communication problem. The AI speaks one language, and all of our apps, all of our tools, they speak a totally different one. Okay, so here's the fundamental disconnect. On one hand, you have us. We use software with a graphical user interface, a GUI. We point, we click on buttons, we drag sliders around. But on the other hand, you have the AIs. They are large language models. They don't see buttons or menus. They understand words, sentences. They're built for conversation. Now, for a while now, the tech world has had a solution. Sort of. It's called an API. Just think of it as a special language that lets different software programs talk to each other. It's a bridge for sure, but it's a really technical one. To use an API, you have to know how to write code. And that's where it all falls apart, right? Every single app, from your project manager to YouTube, has its own unique, complicated API. For an AI to use all of them, a developer would have to teach it thousands of different coding languages. That's just not practical for you and me. We need a much, much better way. Well, what if I told you that better way is here? It's called the Model Context Protocol, or MCP for short. Let's take a look at how this thing builds a completely new kind of bridge. Basically, you can think of MCP as the ultimate universal translator. It's this clever middleman that sits between the AI and all your tools. It listens to your simple conversational request, and then it does all the heavy lifting. It translates what you said into the specific, complex code that each tool's API needs to understand. This is honestly the perfect analogy. Remember the bad old days? Every phone, every camera, every device had its own annoying proprietary cable. It was a mess. Then USB-C came along and boom, one standard connector for almost everything. MCP is doing that exact same thing, but for AI and software. One standard to connect your AI to any tool you can possibly imagine. Or, hey, here's another way to look at it. MCP is basically making English, or whatever natural language you speak, the global language of software. The AI speaks one simple language to MCP, and MCP then turns around and speaks the thousands of different complex API languages to all the individual tools. All that complexity just vanishes. Okay, so this all sounds amazing in theory, right? But how do you actually get this running on your own computer? Well, it's surprisingly simple, actually. All you need are 3 key things that work together as a team. First up, you need an engine. In this case, it's a program called Docker Desktop. Developers use it all the time to run applications. Second, you need the translator itself, the MCP toolkit, which you can actually find right inside Docker. And finally, of course, you need the brain, an AI like Claude, to actually give the commands to. All right, theory time is over. Let's see this power trio in action. And we're going to start with that exact task we talked about right at the beginning, updating a Notion page with just a simple sentence. This is the exact prompt, just look at how normal it is. It's not code. There's no weird syntax. It's just you talking to your computer like you'd talk to a human assistant, telling it what you want done. So here's where the magic happens behind the scenes. You type that simple sentence to the AI, the MCP toolkit immediately sees it, figures out what you want, translates it into the precise API command that Notion needs, and zap. It sends it off, the page gets updated, and you didn't have to do a thing. And the result? Bam! Perfect execution. The AI found the right page, it created the new note, and it put the exact text in there that was requested. And it did all of that from one sentence. No clicking through menus, no copying and pasting, not a single line of code. That's what we're talking about. Okay, adding a note is cool, but let's be real. We can push this thing harder. What about a much more complex task? We're going to ask the AI to use a really powerful web scraping tool called Apify to pull data straight from an Instagram profile. And look at the prompt again. Notice how direct it is? We're not being vague. We're telling the AI exactly which tool to use, Apify's Instagram scraper, and exactly what the target is. It's like you're directing a highly skilled researcher on your team. And the results are just, wow. This is incredible. The AI didn't just dump a bunch of raw data. It understood it. It structured it. It correctly identified the user. It pinpointed the latest post, pulled key stats like plays and likes, and it even summarized the topics of his recent videos. I mean, this is sophisticated data analysis, all triggered by one simple sentence. So what we're really seeing here, this isn't just some neat tech demo. This is a genuine glimpse into the future of how we're all going to work with our computers. A future where the main way we interact with them is just by having a conversation. And this isn't some niche thing either. The ecosystem is absolutely exploding. Right now, there are over 224 tools, everything from YouTube and Google Maps to 11 labs, already available to talk to through MCP. And that number, it's going up every single day. What this truly means is that the barrier to creating really powerful automations is just dissolving. For decades, if you wanted to do this kind of stuff, you had to be a developer. You had to write code. With MCP, that power is now available to anyone who can just ask for what they want. Which kind of brings us to one last big question for you. When the only real limit is your own imagination and your ability to ask, the possibilities become truly endless. So if you could have a simple conversation with your computer and get it to do anything across all of your apps, what would be the very first thing you'd ask it to do?